call the meeting to order and ask everyone to please mute their microphones, turn them only on when they speak. Remember to announce your name when speaking so your name can be recorded. This is the Texas Industrialized Building Codes Council starting at 1 p.m. At this time, we'll do roll call. Ms. Clark?
Yes, sir. Stephen Shane,
Here.
William Dub Smith, Edward Martin, Janet Hoffman, Suzanne Arnold,
Here.
Benoit Kurian,
Here.
Otis
Call
Jones,
the meeting to order.
Here.
Edwin Scooter Lofton, Johnny Scholl,
Here.
and Devin Durock.
Here.
And presiding officer Scott McDonald.
Present. Thank
We
you.
have a quorum.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That'll take us to our next item of business, open meetings training with Mr. Robert Reyes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Robert Reyes, Assistant General Counsel. Here today, I'll be reviewing key concepts in the Administrative Procedure Act, or APA, as found in Chapter 2001 of the Texas Government Code. There are two stated purposes for the Administrative Procedure Act. The Act provides the legal requirements that agencies must adhere to when adopting rules. The APA defines the term rule as stated here. The definition of the term rule does not include any statement of an agency's internal processes which do not affect private rights or procedures. The term does contemplate a new rule, an amendment to an existing rule, or the repeal of an existing rule. Shortly, we will be discussing proposed amendments to existing program rules currently found in the Texas Administrative Code. Therefore, the APA will apply to the rulemaking process. This is a list of sources which may conceive concepts for rulemaking. Of these sources, let's take a closer look at the rule petition. An interested person, as defined here, may submit a petition to a state agency, requesting the adoption of a rule. The next slide, this slide illustrates the common rulemaking process. There are 11 milestone events in this process. While this body is identified as a code council, the same process is followed as if it were identified as an advisory board. In a few minutes, I will present to you proposed rule amendments for the first time. Using this illustration, we will be on the fourth step in the process, the blue square on the top row. This slide illustrates the 4-year rule review process. Every 4 years, the rules are reviewed to determine if they should be repealed, readopted, or amended. The analysis must include an assessment of whether the reasons for initially adopting the rules continue to exist. No changes are made to the rules during this rule review process. Any necessary changes that are identified during the review process and any public comments received are addressed in future rulemaking. These are additional resources regarding rulemaking for your review. Should you have any questions after this presentation, you may consult these resources or contact the General Counsel's office at the number provided. The Open Meetings Act and Public Information Act are covered in the training materials offered to you by the Governor's Office. However, I have included informational sources on these two acts along with this presentation. As stated, you may contact the General Counsel's office with any questions or concerns you may have. This concludes the training, and I'm available for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Any questions of the council? Seeing none? Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item of business will be the approval of minutes from the December 8th, 2022 meeting. Are there any council members that have any comments or questions regarding the minutes? Any questions or comments? If not, I am looking for a motion to approve the minutes.
A motion to approve the minutes.
I have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second.
A motion and second. We'll call roll call.
Stephen Shang,
Aye.
Suzanne Arnold. Aye. Benoit Kurian,
Aye.
Otis Jones,
Aye.
Johnny Scholl,
Aye.
Devin Duboc,
Aye.
Scott McDonald, presiding officer.
Aye.
Motion passes, sir.
Thank you very much, Anna. At this point, we'll go to our next item, which is public comment. The Texas Industrialized Building Code Council has not received any public comments.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Thank you. We'll move on to staff reports. Our first staff report will be from the licensing division. It'll be conducted virtually. Yvonne Lopez, please.
Good afternoon, Presiding Officer McDonald and council members. Thank you for your attendance. Yvonne Lopez, Licensing Manager for this program. You have the licensing statistics before you. You will see the fiscal year 2023 populations and statistics through May 31st of this year. In comparison to the end of, or the entirety of fiscal year 2022, which is the entire year. And that concludes my report. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from the council? No questions? Thank you.
Thank you. You have a good day.
You as well. Next, we'll do customer service.
Hello, council members. I'm Patricia Martinez, a manager in customer service, and I'm standing in for Claudia to deliver our stats for this program today. As shown on our FY23 report, contacts have overall remained pretty consistent with the last fiscal year, only slightly peaking in May. And at this moment, our top reason for calls have to do with general inquiries, new registration or renewal inquiries, which we will often get with the IHP team to help us out. And that concludes the customer service stats. So please let me know if you have any questions, and I'll do my best to provide that information.
Any questions for Patricia? I hear none. Thank you very much. Next, we will go to the enforcement division. Jessica's present today. Thank you.
Good afternoon, presiding officer, council members. My name is Jessica Hurtado. I'm one of the senior prosecutors in the enforcement division. You have the report here. The only thing I want to point out is that we've closed more cases than we've opened, and so that's always a good thing to see. Otherwise, if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions from the council?
Just one question.
Yes, sir.
Stephen Shang, the average time to close, I've noticed this last couple of reports, it's significantly longer than TDLR as a whole. What explains that delta?
Sure, great question. In these cases, a lot of the times what's happening is that we're working with the respondents to make the corrections to the whatever the building site is, so that we can make the consumer whole. And so that necessarily takes longer. And so the cases have to stay open until that's done.
So it's the nature of the case versus what TDLR as a whole deals with.
That's right, yes.
More of a compliance and enforcement?
We do strive to get the compliance when we can. And so we work with the respondents, and that, will necessarily take more time when they have to make those repairs or fixes.
Outstanding. Any other questions? Thank you. It's great to see we're getting some cases closed. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, next up will be our regulatory program management division, and Kelly will be here for us.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm Kelly. I'm the senior program specialist for the IHP program. And so as you can see, we've got statistics for the revenue from decals and insignias and alteration decals for fiscal year 23 and 22. I'll just read off 23. You can see the comparison. And this is as of 7/7. So we still have a couple of more months left of this fiscal year. Total decals, insignias, and alterations sold were 6,392. Total revenue was 301,641. Total number of units inspected was 6,369. Total facilities inspected was 1,048. Certification inspections, the number of certification inspections by staff, we had 27 in-person, 12 remote video inspections. Number of certifications by third-party inspectors was 30. Plans approved by third-party inspectors for fiscal year 23, 1,302. Plans reviewed by staff was 93. Then as of the last council meeting in December of 22, we've had 11 manufacturers that have been certified. 21 are in progress, and then we've had one 100% inspection completed. That's all.
Very good, thank you. Any questions? Any questions from the council? Hearing none, thank you. We'll move to our next item, which is the executive office and an update of the 88th legislature.
Mary Winston, TDLR, and I'm happy to say that it was a quiet session relating to industrialized housing and building. We follow thousands of bills, which we always do, because we regulate so many different industries that we never know what will touch on some of our industries, how TDLR's view would be broadened as it has been in the past, where we've taken on new programs. This was not one of those times, and we are not complaining about it. We did gain one more advisory board, which I think is a great thing. That's for our mold program. And we do have something that's quite unique. We have an attachment with the veterinary board, which is what we call a planned divorce. So they have some processes that Sunset Commission felt that they needed to work on. And they said, hey, TDLR, could you give them a helping hand? And we said, of course we can. That doesn't impact anything here. And when we're asked to help, we always like to do that. Well, actually, they made us, but we still like to do that when they ask. So with that said, we had special sessions. We'll have more special sessions, but none of that should affect us. We're rocking and rolling. I'm not gonna take much more of your time because we have business to attend in this meeting. And I do appreciate everyone attending virtually as well as in person. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you. Any questions of the council? No questions? Thank you very much. Okay, our next item on the agenda is the discussion of possible action regarding approval of third-party inspectors, third-party inspection agencies, third-party site inspectors, and design review agencies. Ellie?
Thank you. We have 3 third-party inspectors that have met criteria for third-party inspectors and just need to be approved. There was a typo on the original document that was sent out. I included Patrick Pham. I included his middle name as his last name, and it's since been corrected. So we have Mohammed Shadid, Patrick Pham, and Jerry Van.
Motion to approve.
I'm sorry, who's that?
Have a motion to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Please call and roll call.
Stephen Shang.
Aye.
Susan Hoffman. I'm sorry, Susan Arnold. Benoit Kurian.
Aye.
Otis Jones.
Aye.
Scooter Lofton. He is out. and Johnny Scholl,
Aye.
and Devin Dubois,
Aye.
and presiding officer Scott McDonald.
Aye.
Motion passes, sir.
Thank you very much. And for the business at hand, our next item on the agenda is the discussion and possible recommendation on the proposed amendments to existing Rules 16, Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 70, 70.100, and 70.101 regarding the Industrialized Housing and Buildings Program. The proposed amendments to the existing rules in 70.100 update the construction codes for all industrialized housing and buildings, modules, and modular components to the most recent additions. The proposed amendments to the existing rules in 70.101 amend the mandatory building codes after a determination that the amendments are in the public's interest. Robert, if you please.
Yes, sir. Robert Reyes, Assistant General Counsel. This rulemaking is the first of three possible phases. First of all, I'd like to thank both you, Mr. McDonald and Mr. Shang, being part of the Rules Work Group. Also, Kelly here to my right, and Wallace Britton for their work as program specialists here in the Regulatory Program Management Division. And everyone in the Office of General Counsel who helped me when I had questions, and also who applied their skills to the product before the council today. Doug Jennings, Della Lindquist, Vanessa Vasquez, and Shamika Mason. So thank you to you all. After my review of the language and answering any questions you may have, you are asked to vote on recommending these proposed rule amendments to be published for public comment in the Texas Register. A little background on what you have before you today. The 2015 editions of the International Codes and the 2014 National Electrical Code were adopted on August 1st, 2017. By the time these rules will be adopted, it will be more than 6 years since the codes will have been updated. The adoption of these codes with amendments thereto are for the continued health and safety of the public. The updates also bring the codes up to speed with current technology. The codes and the amendments thereto have been reviewed and analyzed by department staff, as well as the IHB Code Council Rules Work Group. A few highlights of what you have before you today. The rule amendments propose updates to the international codes to their 2021 editions and updates the National Electrical Code to its 2020 edition. 70.100H has been amended to reflect the fact that the IECC is not adopted by the Code Council, but instead by the State Energy Conservation Office, or SECO. The new rule language authorizes the automatic adoption of whichever version of the IECC the SECO office adopts. As a result, the only rulemaking needed in the future will be to amend specific sections or postpone the adoption date of the IECC. There is also language included to dispose of any conflicts between the international building codes and the IECC. The attached graphic found after 70.100K is updated to show what will be the most recently used international codes and electrical code, which are the ones currently being used in the rules. Moving forward to section 70.101, the amendments in that section focus on primarily updating current edition years of codes, as well as updating applicable code section numbers, as many have changed with the introduction of either new information or reorganization of the rules by drafters. Section 70.101C allows for the digital submission, if available, of submittal documents. Digital submission has already been taking place in many jurisdictions, so this catches the rules up to current industry practice. 70.101C4A now includes language that clarifies what power and certificate of occupancy has with regards to the use of the structure. The department does not issue certificates of occupancy. Local jurisdictions perform that duty. The added language allows for the revocation of a certificate based upon the finding of a significant violation. 70.101D7A regarding townhouses now specifies fire resistance requirements for the common walls. Finally, in section 70.101J, the removal of section 210.8F of the National Electrical Code is the solution to the issue of incompatibility between the GFCI breakers and HVAC equipment. The incompatibility was leading to nuisance trips, which required resets. Time and money would be wasted for service calls, and any extended time the HVAC equipment was down could result in deaths, especially in the current heat. Therefore, this section was removed. That concludes the highlights of the proposed rule amendments. Again, a vote recommending the proposed rule amendments as offered today will result in the publishing of the language in the Texas Register for public comment for a period of 30 days. I or staff are available to answer any of your questions.
Thank you very much, Robert.
Sure.
I want to thank you and your staff, Kelly and her staff, for all of the hard work to get us to where we are today. I think this is a great state for a great step for the state of Texas. What we're doing here, getting to the most current codes, it is incredibly valuable. I'm proud that we're able to do this today, at least offer it up, and I hope that our council is in the same position. So at this point, I will call for a motion.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion, looking for a second.
Second.
I'm sorry, who was that?
Otis Jones.
Thank you.
Thank you, Otis. With that being said, is there any other discussion or questions related to this before I call for a vote?
I'm sorry, this is Kelly. I just wanted to give an update on SECO. So apparently where they were going to clean up the language so they could adopt a later version of the energy code. I guess it was vetoed, the bill was vetoed by the governor. So they said they won't be going to a later version anytime soon.
Thank you. And I understand, and I don't know that it's, I can't speak on the legislature's behalf, the governor's behalf, but I understand a lot of those bills will be coming back.
Okay.
This was I think a record-breaking year for vetoes.
Okay.
And so it was a matter of getting property tax relief. So hopeful that will come back maybe in special session, and maybe we'll have something.
Okay.
We'll certainly bring that back on a future agenda if need be.
Okay. I just wanted to give an update on that.
No,
I did
appreciate
check
that.
on
Thank you.
Mhm.
Steve?
If I may make a comment, for my peers and colleagues that are on the council that aren't as familiar with building codes as I wasn't not too long ago, you may be wondering why we're adopting the 2021 building codes now that we're already in 2023 and heading into 2024. What I learned was that building codes, model building codes, are only published once every 3 years. So the International Code Council 2021 building codes are the most current until 2024 gets published. And if we adopt these in the state of Texas, we'll actually have the most current codes. A lot of states out there aren't as advanced as we are. And so I think it's, like Scott said, a great move for us in Texas.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stephen. And I'll add a commentary to that we'll probably be engaging the rules work group to be looking at the 2024s when it's published in the next 6 months and try to keep that trend going.
Oh, hooray, that's gonna be fun.
The heavy lifting's been done, so.
Exactly right.
Any other comments or questions from the council? If not, then I will call for roll call, please.
I'm sorry,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman. I have a question. This is Benoit Kareem.
Please. Yes, sir.
So just for clarification on the IECC, does that mean we're still going to the 2021 IECC, or are we limited by what's or by the veto by the governor?
No, the how it works in the state of Texas is there was legislation a couple of legislative cycles ago that the State Energy Conservation Office commands what energy code we are under. And currently that is the 2015 edition of the IECC. So we will maintain status quo until such point that SECO, or the State Energy Conservation Office, adopts a more rigid or more current standard. And at that point, then we'll evaluate where we're going.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Any other comments or questions? Anna?
Stephen Shang,
Aye.
Suzanne Arnold,
Aye.
Benoit Kurian,
Aye.
Otis Jones,
Aye.
Johnny Shoal,
Aye.
Devin Duva,
Aye.
and presiding officer Scott McDonald.
Most definitely aye. Thank
Motion
you.
passes, sir.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you all again for all of the hard work to get us where we're at. Robert, if I might, I think related to this, can you kind of give just an overview for the council on kind of next steps and timing?
Sure. So right now, as I stated in the training, this was the first board meeting to offer the proposed rule amendments for publishing. The next step is for the Office of General Counsel to communicate with the Texas Register, have the formatted proposed rule amendments as found in the materials published for a 30-day period for public comment. And then the office will receive any public comment regarding the proposed language. And I will, along with the general counsel team, figure out what is maybe necessary to bring back to the code council in a second meeting, which was part of the presentation. So we're on time. The governor's office has already approved the language as formatted in the materials. So we will be jumping on that communication to the Texas Register very quickly.
Thank you. Staff's done a great job of just keeping us on track, even though we lost a little bit of time, we've gained the time back, so.
They've done,
Appreciate that.
sure thing, and they've helped me stay on track. So thanks to them, definitely.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, our next item on the agenda is any recommendations for agenda items for our next council meeting? Any items? If everybody's gonna be shy, I have something that I'd like to bring up. For the next council meeting, I'd like to discuss the ICC MBI 1205 2021 edition and the MBI 1200 2021 edition. And I'm also proud to say that our own Kelly helped put these documents together. And she hasn't advocated for these, but I think from an industrialized building standpoint, to have some consideration of including these standards is another tool in our toolbox would be a very valuable item. So I'd like to add that. And I also asked Kelly if there is any value, would you like to have someone from ICC put on a brief something at the meeting?
I think it might be good for the council, yeah, council members, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can reach out and have someone make themselves available to us and put on a little training about the two documents, and then we can either delegate it to the work group or whatever council would like to do as we go forward, so.
Okay. Sounds good.
Any other items anyone would like to see on the agenda? Mr. Vice Chair, anything?
I am curious, organizationally, maybe this gets added to the agenda, how the organization is doing as a whole, just being that we've had some turnover in the last few years and some new additions and all that. If we could add that as an update in the next meeting, just how y'all are doing.
Just an organizational update, kind of what the structure looks like and.
Exactly.
Okay. IHB staff or TDL? Okay.
Yes, all of
Okay.
TDLR.
Oh, well, no.
Maybe the umbrella of how the structure sits, and then maybe we'll get a little bit more refined as far as IHB and where we sit about that.
Yeah,
Because we had that, I think, 1 or 2 meetings ago.
Yes.
And I think it's good to keep
We-
pulse on that.
we do have a new team member. Can I introduce our?
Please do.
Yeah, I didn't know if it's here.
So we have Rob Lee. He is our newest IHB's program specialist. And then for anybody who, I think everybody knows Chrissy. And Jenny she's kind of behind the scenes doing all the grunt work for us. This is Jenny Lee. Yeah, and she's been promoted to program specialist as well.
Congratulations.
And then, is this your first council meeting? Oh my gosh, okay, this is this manager, our PM. Your title, I'm sorry.
Section manager.
Section
Yes,
manager,
section
okay.
And what is your name?
Oh, I'm sorry, Melissa Hamilton.
I'm sorry, I thought you said it, and that's why I didn't just introduce you, but
So what I traditionally do, and I guess is
You're not gonna pay for the-
presiding officer, all of my new staff, when they're sitting in front of a group of people, I ask them to tell 3 things that nobody knows about them in this room.
Nice.
So, Mr. Chairman, maybe in a room, but not on YouTube.
Not on YouTube. That's a safe bet.
Thank you.
You got off. Appreciate that. Okay, any other items for the next agenda? We're gonna call that then.
And
Thank
we'll
you.
have the public comments for the proposed rules for you as well.
Thank you. All right, so how about a discussion of the date, time, location for our next council meeting?
So Robert will need some time. We'll get those rules out there. The public will have 30-day comment period. And he will, depending on how many comments we get, he'll go over those and get them ready to present for you. So if it's okay with general counsel, we could just poll the board, but I'm assuming 60 days.
At least, just in case, to give us enough time for the publishing, the period to happen. We can't expect the publishing to be like in the next hour or the next day or anything like that. So we have to work with the text register on that. So we do need some time, just in case there is some discussion or some comments on that, to be able to digest it and then speak to relevant staff personnel or council personnel, depending on the matter, to see how we move forward.
Absolutely. So, and realistically, maybe 90 days would be better. Just maybe we think in terms of October, so we can
That
pull maybe
actually
some
sounds-
October dates, and it gives us a little bit of buffer and.
Okay. That sounds good, because once we submit it to the register, on their schedule, it doesn't, as Robert said, get submitted immediately or get out there, published immediately. So 90 days is really a good time frame.
I think that would work well. And again, just try to get advance of the holidays. So stay out of November, December, and people back to school. So we'll look at October maybe, and if you can do that, Anna, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
definitely for the holidays.
Okay. And then I assume that we would probably still be planning on it being hybrid as well.
Yeah, if that is your pleasure, we are here.
I guess asking the questions if do we have any different direction from as far as just what we're doing at a state level?
Hybrid would be preferable,
Okay.
just in case we have a situation like we had in June. That way we can make sure that if there's any complication with the room like we had in June, we can always move to a hybrid situation, and we can still have the meeting and stay on time.
Okay, very good. Okay, I guess at this point, I will ask that we adjourn the meeting. And I will call it at 1:33. I thank all of you that have been on the line with us today. We appreciate it, and thank you for your continued work with the state of Texas and the Industrialized Building Code Council.
Thank you so much.